Welcome to lecture 12. Today we are going to see the further part of inheritance. So, in the last class we had seen an example of the single or simple inheritance. So, on the continuation, so in today's lecture we are going to see the second example. So, let us consider class animal, right? Let us consider class animal. So, under this you have one member function called void eat, right? So, this is one member function. So, you have void eat. So, void eat, you have one cout statement. Cout statement is animal is eating, fine. So, now you have class dog, right, which is publicly inheriting animal, right. So, animal is a base class, right, animal is a base class, and you have class dog which is publicly inheriting, right. So, that means a dog can use the properties of the animal, right. So, you have one member function. So, that can be utilized by the class dog. So, under dog you have one member function called bark. So, here you have dog is barking. So, now we can see, right. So, we are creating an object my dog under the class dog, correct. So, now my dog is invoking the function eat, the member function eat. So, what is happening? Eat, right. So, which is available. So, here you go, here you have the eat member function. So, here you have bark member function, right. So, we have created an object under my dog, under dog, right. So, the name of the object is my dog. So, this object is invoking eat. Yes, it is possible, right, because dog is publicly inheriting animal, right. So, you can see. So, my dog is an object under the class dog, right, and my dog is invoking eat. So, when it is invoking eat, so here you go, animal is eating will be first getting printed, right, animal is eating will get printed. Now, my dog is invoking bark, right, my dog is invoking bark. So, here you go, so bark you have dog is barking, right. So, here you go, dog is barking. So, this member function will be invoked, and so first animal is eating will be printed, and the second case dog is barking will be printed. So, if you run the code you will get the output, right. This is what we are expecting. So, this output you will get, first you will get animal is eating, and second one dog is barking. So, this is another example of single or simple inheritance. Now, you have one more example, right. So, we will see the last example of a single inheritance. Suppose assume that I have a class A, right, class A which you call it as base class. The class A contains two member data, one is A is equal to 4, another one B equal to 5, and then it has one member function. So, member function you are doing here, first member function we are seeing. So, this is the multiplication, C is equal to A star B, and then it is returning. So, multiplication function, right, only one function you have. Now, if you look, class B is privately inheriting A, first time we are seeing, right, class B is privately inheriting A. So, A is the base class, you have the private inheritance, B is the derived class, right. So, here you have class B, you have display. So, display you have, you are calling multiplication function, right. So, display you are calling multiplication function, and the multiplication is a public, right, multiplication is available public. So, class A multiplication is public, even though it is privately inheriting. So, we are going to see how this is being, right, going to be accessed, right. So, result multiplication and C out multiplication of A and B, right, C out is multiplication of A and B. So, now in the main program, so you have, right, so multiplication will be called over here, that will be stored in result, right, multiplication will be called over here and that will be stored in the result. So, now you have an object small b, right. So, you have an object small b whose class is capital B. So, under B I have an object B. alright. So, now B is invoking display, yes it can, because display you have the function member function, and inside this function you have multiplication. So, it is privately inheriting, that means the public will become private, alright. So, the public member function, so int multiplication is a public member function, so that will be private to class B, alright. So, that will be private to class B. So, now here you have multiplication, so you are calling this function, so it can be called, alright, because class B is inheriting class A privately, and you can see that multiplication function C is equal to A star B, right. Your A is 4, B is 5. So, I can get the output 20, 4 into 5 is 20, right. So, that will be stored in the result. So, now multiplication of A and B is, you can see the result, right. So, the multiplication of A and B, you can show the, you can see the result. So, result is 20. So, when B is invoking display, you will get the output, the multiplication of A and B is 20, alright. So, privately when it is inheriting, the public is becoming, alright, it can be accessed. So, it is becoming private. So, now in this example, the previous example that we had seen, class A is privately inherited, alright. So, class A is privately inherited. So, when it is privately inherited, so if there is any, for example, A and B we cannot access, right. So, that means suppose I put, let us say B dot, let us say result or something, right, or anything outside the main function when you are trying to access, so it cannot be accessed. So, for example, so here the multiplication function you have, alright. So, this class A cannot be accessed by the object of class B, alright, and the multiplication function suppose you want to access, alright. So, assume that I have an object B, alright, I have an object B. So, you may ask the question, why do not you put B dot multiplication, alright. So, B dot, you can try, you will get an error, alright. So, suppose I am writing here B dot multiplication, right. So, this will give an error, alright. So, because this is becoming private, alright. So, you are trying to access outside the class, then you are getting an error, right. So, B dot multiplication, suppose I put B dot multiplication function of class A, so cannot be accessed by the object of class B. So, B dot multiplication if I put, so this will give an error. So, therefore, we can conclude that it can only be accessed by the member function of class B, right. What is the member function of class B? So, B dot display, so that is a member function of class B, and then inside your class B you are calling this multiplication, yes it is now perfectly valid, and you can see the output we are getting, multiplication of A and B is 20. I hope it is clear for everyone. Now, similarly in Java we have a syntax like this, right. So, what we have done in the case of C++, class B colon private A, alright. So, class B is the class, private A is the class. So, here in Java we have to use extends, the keyword extends, alright. So, class name of the subclass, alright, extends a superclass. So, class B extends class A, right. So, class B and class A are name of the class, and then you have methods and fields, alright. So, you can use the keyword extends. So, in fact, we had seen an example, alright, maybe one more example we will see. So, let us assume we have class calculation, alright. So, we have class calculation, you have member data or data member is that, and you have a method addition. So, the addition is adding two numbers, you are passing x and y, right. So, they are the arguments here. So, z is equal to x plus y. So, now you have system.out.println, the addition of two numbers is nothing but z, right. And similarly subtraction, another function called subtraction, and you have two arguments, z is equal to x minus y. So, system.out.println, so the difference between the given number, so here it is z, right, the same z variable we are using, it's a local to subtraction and local to addition, right. The class is over here. So, now how do you inherit? I have another class called my calculation. So, my calculation extends calculation, right. So, calculation is a base class and you can call it as super class, and my calculation is a subclass, right, in Java, whereas we call base class in C++ and derived class. So, here you have super class and subclass, super class child class or parent class child class. Okay. So, now you have under my calculation you have multiplication, right. So, here I am defining multiplication. So, Z is equal to x star y and system dot out dot println. So, you will have the product of given numbers is plus Z, right, product of. So, Z is equal to x star y. So, A is 20, B is equal to 20. So, now I have the object demo, right. Your class is my underscore calculation, which is a subclass, and here you have new operator and this is your constructor, the default constructor, correct. So, default constructor, here there is no role, fine. So, then your demo, the object demo is invoking addition. So, A comma B, that means you are passing 20 and 10. So, when you are passing 20 and 10, you will get 20 plus 10, 30, alright. So, this is calling this function addition, Z is equal to x plus y, right. So, 20 and 10, 30. So, that will be added and here you have to get 30 as the output, and 20 minus 10, when you are calling subtraction, subtraction is 20 minus 10, I should get 10 as the output, and the last one multiplication. So, which is available. So, first two member functions or you call it as the methods 23 and 24 that are available in super class, and multiplication is available in subclass. So, subclass 20 into 10 you should get 200, alright. So, when I run the code I have to get this output, right. Sum of the given numbers 30, alright, difference is 10 and you can see the multiplication is 200 and here we are getting 200, right. So, in the terminal when you run this code, so you have Java C my calculation dot Java, and for running the code the next line. So, you can get sum of the given numbers, subtraction of the given numbers and multiplication of the given numbers. So, this is single inheritance. So, under single inheritance in Java you have the super keyword. So, we talked about super class and subclass, correct. So, let us consider this particular example, alright. I am not using the super keyword here, but suppose I have this, right. So, class vehicle speed is equal to 50, right, class vehicle speed is equal to 50 and bike 3 extends vehicle. So, bike 3 is a subclass which is extending vehicle. So, assume that I am using the same data, right, same data member, same name, speed equal to 100 here, right. So, slowly we are going to polymorphism, right. So, now you have one member function called void display. So, void display what it is doing? So, it is trying to print speed, right, it is trying to print speed. So, you are creating an object B, in the main you are creating an object B whose class is bike 3. So, bike 3 is equal to, you have a new operator and then you have a constructor, correct. So, this object B is invoking display, alright. So, can you think what will be the output? So, right, when it is calling the function display, right, it is trying to print system dot out dot println speed, right. So, speed which is taking in the bike 3 class, right, in the bike 3 class it is taking the speed and it is being printed over here, right. So, now you may ask the question, you want to print let us say speed which is equal to 50, alright. So, what will you do? In that case we are going to use the keyword called super, right. So, here you go the same program, right. So, I just change the name to bike 4, vehicle is the super class, bike 4 is a subclass which is extending vehicle, speed is equal to 100, right. You have void display, first time we are seeing super dot speed, all right, super dot speed. So, public static void main, so main is over here, object B, right, whose class is bike4, dynamically allocating a memory with a constructor, default constructor bike4. Now, B is invoking display, right. Now, B is invoking display. So, when it is invoking display, system.out.println super dot speed, right. So, when you have super dot speed, in the previous program what we have done, we have simply print speed. So, speed equal to 100 was printing. So, now I want to print this, right. So, in that case use super dot speed. So, you can see the output, right. So, you will get 50 as the output. So, that is what the advantage of using super. That means, if you want to access, you have a same member data, and if you want to access the super class, right, in Java, you have the keyword called super, right, super and then dot operator. So, you have speed, right, super dot speed. So, which is printing 50. That means, in the base class, or you can call it as a super class if you want to print the member data or data member. So, this is the way to print. So, now first time we are seeing the word super, right. So, this keyword, which is nothing but a reference variable, alright. So, in Java this is a reference variable. So, which is being used to refer immediate parent class of the object, immediate parent class, alright. So, sooner or later we are going to talk about the multi-level, and then we will see several examples. So, which one will be called, right. So, when I use a super keyword, the super keyword is nothing but a reference variable, right. So, that is used to refer immediate parent class object, right, super dot speed, right. So, whenever suppose we are creating an instance of subclass, right. So, here we have created an instance of subclass B, object B under bike4. So, that is nothing but instance of a subclass, right. So, now an instance of a parent class that will be created implicitly. So, which will be referred by the super reference variable, right. So, which will be referred by super reference variable. So, now, so we can use as an instant super as an instant variable, we use super dot, right, speed. So, we know that the immediate parent class instance variable, right, that is used to refer immediate parent class instance variable, and this is nothing but the constructor, right. The immediate parent class constructor will be invoked. So, whenever you are using super of this, so we know that in the case of the constructor we use the same name. So, now when I use this, so this is used to invoke the immediate parent class constructor, and similarly the method, right. So, when I want to invoke the immediate parent class method, we can use the super keyword. So, now we will see this example. So, class vehicle. So, under class vehicle I have one member function called, right, in fact that is a special member function which is a constructor, default constructor, system.out.println vehicle is created, and then I have class bike5, right, which is extending vehicle. So, here you have the constructor, right. So, here you have the constructor for bike5, that means a subclass, correct, and then you use the keyword called super. So, the keyword super will invoke the parent class constructor, right. So, now we have one print statement for bike5 under bike5 constructor. So, which is bike is created, alright. So, now you have void main, B is an object, small b is an object under bike5, you are dynamically create a space for small b object, and bike5 is a constructor, right. So, now what will happen when you are creating an object B, right, under bike5. So, this will go to line number 6, right, this constructor will be invoked. So, here you have super, the keyword super will invoke the base class constructor or the super class constructor. So, first print you are getting vehicle is created, right. The first print statement you will get the vehicle is created, right. So, next one it is going to line number 8. So, line number 8 you have bike is created, right. So, these two will be printed, these two will be printed. So, when I run the code I can see that vehicle is created is being printed and second one is bike is created. So, when I use the keyword super, so one we can see in the case of instance or the member data, and here you go when I use the line number 7, the base class constructor, I mean to say the immediate parent class constructor will be invoked. So, therefore, you are getting vehicle is created first. So, this is giving the first input, that is what the first input over here, and automatically the second input, right. System.out.println is there since you are creating under bike 5. So, this will be printed and here you are getting bike is created, right. I hope it is clear. So, now we have used super for constructor as well. So, now according to the compiler, even if you leave like this, so let us assume class bike 5, the previous example, alright. According to the compiler, it will be like this, alright. Bike 5, you have bike 5 which is the constructor, right. So, under constructor it is assumed that you have the super keyword, it is assumed, right. So, this is what exactly happening. So, the super is added in every class constructor automatically by compiler. So, this is how exactly, even though it is you, if you are writing like this, it is equivalent to this according to the compiler, it is equivalent to this, that is the meaning. Okay. So, even if I am writing like a left hand side, it is as far as compiler is concerned, it will be like this. So, that means class bike 5 which is a class, under this you have bike 5 constructor. So, constructor, inside the constructor the first line is super. So, super keyword means the parent class will be called, we will see an example, alright. So, here you go, right, line number 7, the exactly like a last program, line number 7 I commented, line number 7 I commented, alright. So, class vehicle system.out.println vehicle is created, alright. So, bike 5 is extending vehicle. So, here you have the constructor bike 5. So, super class I commented and then bike is created, alright. So, now you have an object B under bike 5. So, when you are creating an object bike 5 B, so this will call this, alright. So, we'll go back to the previous diagram. So, it is like bike 5, it has gone to bike 5. So, when it is calling the default constructor, what is the first line? First line is like super, super will be there, alright. So, when it super is being invoked, alright, so then it will call the parent class constructor, alright. So, it is calling the parent class constructor. So, when it is calling the parent class constructor, vehicle is created will be printed. So, this one will be printed automatically and then bike is created will be printed. So, that is what the meaning of this, right. So, that is what the meaning of the previous diagram, you can see the output, you can try this code, very interesting code, alright. I have not given super, but as far as compiler is concerned, you have this super keyword, even though you have not written, it is as such you have super keyword. So, let us consider another example, right. So, you have base class or super class vehicle, right. So, you have a base class or super class vehicle, right. Under this you have a constructor system.out.println vehicle is created. So, now I have another class bike 6, right. So, which is extending vehicle. So, that means vehicle is a super class and bike 6 is a subclass, right. Vehicle is a super class and bike 6 is a subclass. So, I have in speed, under this I have one argument constructor, parameterized constructor bike 6, you are passing speed. So, now you have first time we are seeing this pointer, this dot speed equal to speed, right. So, this dot speed equal to speed and then I am printing speed, right. So, you look at the main program, alright, you look at the main program. So, public static void main, you have object B, right, you have object B whose class is bike 6, you have an object B whose class is bike 6, right. So, here you have a constructor and then you are passing the value 10, alright. So, here you have 10 and speed, right, it is a reference variable. So, that means your speed will be 10, speed will be initialized to 10, alright. You can check this, remove line number 8 and simply try to print system.out.println speed, you will get 0, right. Whereas, if you use this, right, with the reference, this is a pointer, right. So, when you are using this pointer, right, dot the variable name that you are using, the member data that you are using inside the class. So, then whatever you are passing 10 will be printed. So, 10 will be printed, alright. So, when I run the code, you will get the output vehicle is created. Yes, of course, when you are creating an object B, so it is assumed that you have the super constructor and the super constructor will be calling this, right. So, therefore, vehicle is created will be printed and since you are passing 10, so 10 will be printed. So, now super can be used to invoke parent class method, right. So, here you have let us say class person, alright. So, you have class person, alright. So, person is the class. So, you have void message. So, I am using super for a method, the parent class method, alright. So, you have void message, under this void message you have printing system.out.println welcome, right, system.out.println welcome, alright. So, class student 16, so you have another subclass, alright. So, which is extending person, alright. So, class student 16 which is extending person, alright. So, here you have void message, correct. So, yeah, one more message statement, correct. So, one more message statement, I mean to say one more message function. So, system.out.println welcome to Java. So, super class is also having a same name, subclass is also having a same name, alright. Now, slowly we are going into polymorphism, slowly, not exactly, but slowly. You have void display, here you are calling message. So, let us say which message will be called. On the next line number 12 you have super dot message, right. So, line number 12 you have super dot message. So, message when it is calling, let us say when you are going to the main program, you have an object S, right, you have an object S and student 16 is the class, right. So, this object is invoking display, right. So, this object is invoking display. So, when it is invoking display you have line number 11 message and line number 12 you have super dot message. Yeah, by the keyword super it is very clear to you. So, message when it is invoking the subclass, right. So, that means first welcome to Java will be printed, welcome to Java will be printed first and line number 12 when it is invoking super dot message, right, it is invoking the super class. So, first this will be the output and second this will be the output, right. So, when I run the code I have to get the output like this. So, welcome to Java, yes, as we expected, and welcome is the second output. So, here you go, you are getting this output. Welcome to Java, that is what we are expecting, first output and second output welcome, okay. So, super can be used for the member data, and super can also be used for the constructor, and super here in this particular example we have used for the parent class method. Alright. So, there are cases super may not be required, right. So, that we will see in the next class. Thank you.